Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you all for joining us this morning. Jeff, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. We get to watch Thursday Night Football tonight. No Jonathan Taylor for all the fantasy owners out there, but
okay.
No, I'm doing good, Adam.
All right, as a Jonathan Taylor non-fantasy owner and a Melvin Gordon fantasy owner, I think my question to all of you this morning before we get the show started is, should I start Melvin Gordon?
Well, that goes for two of us. Because I have Melvin too? On both my
Well, I
leagues,
had him as a handcuff because of Javonte Williams. So.
Right. No, I'm curious. I'm
I don't know what to
debating.
do. I have Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara at running back, so I don't know if I want to push Gordon into the lineup and move one of them to flex. I don't know. I'm terrified right now.
After what Gordon's been doing so far, I'm concerning. I'm hesitating. Yeah,
but he's now the one, right? He's just getting the touches. But regardless, baseball's over, and Fletch,
wild card tomorrow.
Our season's
Are we
over.
in the postseason?
No.
Have we sniffed a pennant in the last 8 years?
I thought
Have we sniffed a wild card appearance?
thought we were winning the AL Central.
You will next year.
The season is over. Baseball's over in this town.
In this town it is.
Better.
Yep.
Better.
Yep. Go Guardians!
We all love Shep. Shep does a hell of a job on the broadcast. And last night's rant,
Yeah, he took flames yesterday.
I could not start with it. Wow. Passionate. Accurate as hell. And I'm honestly good for him. Good for him. What did we always talk about with Al Avila when he was in town, right? The Tigers are they're gonna find a way. They're gonna find a way, and everything's gonna be okay. Afraid to speak out on what we all knew was wrong. And Chris, this is just as much on you as it is on anybody else. And now it's Scott Harris. And, you know, the Tigers community, now everyone's really back on track, feeling good about the team. They went on a good run to end the season. Torkelson, a few home runs the other night. All right, fine. But Shep summed it up perfectly last night. How do the Dodgers, how do the Cardinals, how do all these teams, the Mets have won 5 straight? Shouldn't take this franchise 8 years. It shouldn't. The Tigers franchise is a damn good one. Now, with Fat Bundy in charge, not the best. You learned your lesson. You got Scott Harris in charge now. You have a top 5 manager, in my opinion. Figure it out. Compete for the division next year. Win the division 2 years from now. And no excuses. No excuses. That's it. What you're going to do with Javi and all the I don't know. I don't want to talk about baseball that much. We'll get to that in December. But right now, season's over. Looking ahead to 23, figure it out. And I'm confident in Scott Harris. Illich, you're going to have to open up the checkbook. And I'm not talking about spending money just to spend money. I'm talking about giving your current president of baseball operations something to work with.
That's what I was going to say. Is I'm confident in Scott Harris, but are you confident in Illich forking up the money? Because that's been the issue this entire time. I mean, to go get talent, and that's why I'm so curious to see what Scott Harris does this offseason. Because listening to the press conference and them asking, I forgot who it was that asked him specifically, but somebody asked him to the type of offseason he's looking to have. Like, what does he plan on doing? Is it more of a slow process, or are you going to go out and be aggressive? And he gave the very generic, media answer, which is like, we're going to do whatever we got to do to improve this baseball team. I'm curious what that is. Is it going out and spending money?
You know what it is?
They have to, but we'll see.
Brandon brings up an interesting point. I don't completely agree with you, Brandon. I agree in some parts of it. I agree that this team will never have the payroll like we saw early on, especially towards the end of the stretch with Illich, the original OG Illich. You don't have the Dodgers payroll, right? You don't have the LA destination. You don't. But the Cardinals don't either. They're just well ran. The Rays don't. They're well ran. The Mets took the very carte blanche, throw money at everything approach. And you know what? They finally figured it out. But the reality is, Houston, they lost Correa. They're better. You got to go internally, address your scouting department, and you really got to look yourselves in the mirror and say, how much do we need to be spending to really be competing? The Guardians, the Twins, the Royals, the White Sox. How do we compete and win this division? That's the objective with this Tigers team moving forward. And like I said, Shep last night, I enjoyed the hell out of it, Jeff. That was honesty. What's our job? It's not to lie to you, right? And I know for a fact that this fan base was frustrated with that specific broadcast throughout the season when Al Avila was in charge. Why? Not that they are afraid to speak out, but the reality is there's consequences, right? Let's say Al Avila was the vice president of Woodward Sports, and I came out and I said everything I said. I probably don't have a job. I probably don't have a job. And you know what? Whatever. I could live with it, but, you know, different circumstances. So for the Tigers, all I ask going into this offseason, contend for the pennant. Let's contend in that division. Go for it. Just go for it, man. It doesn't take 8 years. In baseball, it's proven 2-3 years at the latest.
Right.
And somehow, some way, this is how it works in the NFL too, right? I brought up the Bills yesterday. I don't think you guys really understood, and not you, Jeff, because we have these conversations, but to everybody watching, I'm not asking Dan Campbell to go out and compete for this division. I'm really not. My frustration, and I'll get to that at 8:15. But my frustration has nothing to do with expectations. And now with this Tigers team moving forward, I expect them to put together a team that can contend for the division, Jeff.
You know what's crazy to think about too, and I'm glad this is what you're saying, because if you listen to Shepard too last night, one of the things I think that frustrates him too is the Tigers are now tied with the Angels for the longest postseason drought. Like, should they be in that conversation? No. But that's the reality of it. So I'm with you. Something has to give, and I'm expecting Scott Harris this offseason to do some work. Now, good luck attracting people to come to Detroit this time, but I think now that Scott Harris is here, you have A.J. Hinch, it's a good duo in free agency. That's a good selling point, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, look, Brandon, again, Avila was trash. We agree. He didn't draft well. We agree. But Detroit isn't also going to go out and get top-tier free agents like Bryce Harper.
Right.
I agree. But you've shown the ability to, or at least key veterans. Are you going to be able to go spend $400 million, let's say, even though he just signed his arbitration deal, Ohtani or Judge? I don't think you have the destination for that. No, I don't. But you will be able to get some all-star caliber players. I'm not asking for the second or third or fourth best player in baseball, right? I'm asking for all-star players, guys that significantly improve your baseball team. I think we're on the same page this morning.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jimmy in the chat, Jimmy V. I got to sit with Jimmy later today.
You're getting a lot of praise, I guess you could say, or comments on the jacket.
Oh, me?
People love it.
Yeah. Shout out to my wife.
Yeah, it's a nice jacket. She got it in Chicago?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Mute your mic.
Fish, you tried. You tried, Fish.
I'm sorry, Fish.
I want to go home.
I'm joking.
Watch basketball.
I'm joking.
And
doesn't wanna go
football and
home.
everything.
Oh, God, I'm joking. But look, I want to close up the Tigers conversation with this. The Tigers aren't just built through free agency, right? They're built also, and historically, especially under Dombrowski, with trades. Trading for the top-tier players. Yes, you probably can't get them in free agency in the open market, but you can get them in trades. And you can buy bad contracts and good contracts. And that's the state of the Detroit Tigers at the end of the year. Torkelson, Riley Green. Torkelson showed some good power down the stretch. Thank God. You drafted him to hit 25-plus home runs a year, but, here we are. Oh, man. Well, look, we got a great show today. 8:15, the state of the Detroit Lions. How and why we're at where we're at right now.
Yeah, we got some things to talk about.
Sean Murphy, excuse me, at 8:30. Jared Goff, 8:45. We'll take callers at 9 o'clock. We got to talk about Matt Patricia, the damage he caused this franchise during his time here at the Detroit Lions. And then, of course, there's Thursday Night Football, fantasy football. You know the deal. It's going to be a great, great show today. We will be back with so much more in just a bit. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Big Boy.
Guys, for a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries are at Big Boy. It's not just a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. They have the chili cheeseburger as well as the bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries, by the way? They have the chili cheese fries, the baked potato fries, or the nacho fries. Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Jeff Iafrate here with Chili Pepper Standing, and you can join the Pepper Club at Chili Pepper Standing. You'll get all the best deals, plus they'll beat all competitors by $5. Chili Peppers has the hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans, 26 locations, and more on the way.
Chili peppers, Dan.
God bless Fish.
I love Fish during that read. Comes in clutch.
I mean, you gotta get tan. Go to Chili Peppers Tan. Where else are you gonna go?
Yeah, that's
God
right.
bless you, Fish.
Winter's coming.
God bless you. All right, well, look. Here's where we're at this morning. Fish, mute your mic.
Why?
Fish, don't do it.
Mute your mic. You know why.
Do I? Okay.
Please. All right, guys. It's been a frustrating few weeks. And Fish, what the hell are you doing? Leave Fish alone. All right, look. The reality is, it's been a very frustrating few weeks. The Lions haven't been winning games. They're now 1-3.
Yeah.
I don't really want to go into detail on why or how they lost certain games, but I want to address it as honestly as I can. So you understand, one, where my frustration comes from. And two, hopefully now that you understand it, we don't confuse the two. There's a difference between frustration and wanting people fired, right? I am frustrated that your football team is 1-3. Last I checked, Jeff, because 3 out of the 4 games, I believe they were the better team. One of which they won. They were better than Washington. They were better than Minnesota. Tough to say they were better than Seattle, but the offense put up 45. I mean, what am I supposed to do with that?
And I would say they're better than Seattle.
So now I have to do shows on Mondays, Tuesdays with you, and the Lions are now 1-3. I had them winning 7 games. And what I asked for, player development, coaching improvements, right? Coaching not costing their team late. There's going to be games where teams are just better than you guys. That's fine. We can live with that. We can all live with it in this room. You can all live with it at home. That's the reality of football, too. Sometimes the other team is just better than you. Okay? But the fact that you're 1-3, playing Philly, Washington, Minnesota, and Seattle, and now on the road to Foxborough, that is so infuriating. Not because I think you're going to make the playoffs or I think you're a division contender. No, that was not the expectation for Dan. The pressure I'll put on Dan Campbell has nothing to do with that win-loss record. It has everything to do with how you keep losing games. If it's not you blowing a fourth quarter lead, Jeff, if it's not you kicking an onside kick and giving them an extra possession or calling a timeout and letting them rethink it, if it's not any of that, Jeff, you know what it is? It's historically giving up the most points through 4 games in NFL history. It's always something. And that is what's frustrating. Again, I am not asking for the 15th ranked defense in the NFL. Hell, the 18th. Hell, the 20th. I'm just asking for improvement. I've seen it on the offense. I'm not seeing it at the top level coaching, and I'm not seeing it on the defensive side of the ball. So you ask me, oh, well, Adam, why are you frustrated? That's why. And what was the conversation going into the year? How long do you have Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn for, right? Ben Johnson has proven his worth. Somehow, some way, Aaron Glenn, who, again, last year had 6-7 games where he coached up his team, they had no business being in those games. Aaron Glenn did that. Dialed up the pressure on Kyler Murray and the Cardinals. Dialed up pressure towards the end on the Minnesota Vikings. Found ways. The Steelers game, the Browns game, whatever it may be, the Ravens. Going into the offseason, we were talking about Aaron Glenn potentially getting a head coaching job. And now 4 games into the year, he somehow historically has the worst defense through 4 games in NFL history. It doesn't add up. And that is what kills me. If you lose to Philly, I can come in here and talk about the football game. No problem. Philly's a better team. All right. Even though you blew 3 possessions in that game. But, we're not going to talk about that. Washington, dominating. Well done. Minnesota, you dominated them. Couldn't put them away. Blew it late. The same things that happened last year. Seattle, to give up 48 to Seattle. With that offense, missing Amon-Ra St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, DJ Chark, Hawkinson's career day, Goff playing phenomenal. I am tired of them finding ways to lose games. That's all they know how to do right now. Is that to say they can't go on the road right now and get Dan Campbell's first win as a head coach on the road? No. They absolutely have a chance. The New England offense isn't potent. It's really the defense that you're a little concerned about. So can your offense show up? And on top of it, Jeff, that doesn't mean that through 8 games they can't be 3-5, or through 10 games they can't be 4-6.
Right.
Who am I to say they can't? But when we talk about progress and moving forward and getting better and talking about a team next year where we can say, hey, they're going to compete for the division.
When they haven't won a road game.
I look at coaching.
Yeah.
You can look at talent. I look at coaching. Do I think this team is not as talented as some of the other teams in the league? Yeah, of course. Of course you still need a few pieces on defense. Of course I think Anzalone's a bum. Of course I think you're getting no pressure on the defensive front from anybody. And Aiden Hutchinson, who is a rookie, is basically on an island on himself, who is not delivering at the moment. Of course I think that. Of course I think your secondary players are sketchy. They're not even good. Yes, you have a ton of work to do, but go look at the Atlanta defense. Go look at their roster. Put it side by side with Detroit's. You would take Detroit's. They somehow find a way the last 2 games to win their games and find a way to hold Seattle to 20 points and hold Cleveland to 20 points. I'm not asking for much. Give your offense a chance to win the game for you. Jared Goff, he was mic'd up. Get the onside kick, we're winning this game. I believe that. The problem is, I really got to deal with 48 on the board. Right. It's always something every week. And that's where my frustration is building up, Jeff. It's not so much that they're 1-3. If you told me they were 2-2 right now, they lost to Minnesota, even though they blew it, and they lost to Philly, I think you are very optimistic about this team going into Foxborough and winning that football game, especially without their starting quarterback. But no, the conversation is, oh man, they blew this one, they gave up way too many things, How long? How long do we just kind of let the excuses build up? And again, I'm not saying fire Dan Campbell.
Right.
Hell, I'm not even going to say fire Aaron Glenn right now. What I'm telling you is, you can't be 1-3, playing that way, scoring the most points and giving up the most. And I am not a SOL guy. I hate it. I think it's stupid. But all those same old Lions people, Jeff, they are laughing. Oh, look at this. They scored the most points through 4 games and gave up the most. Oh, of course. Why? Why? I could get Vic Fangio in here to do a better job on defense. What more could you ask from this offense? And again, I can give Dan Campbell praise for getting the offense right with Ben Johnson. But do I absolve him from criticism for the defense? Jeff, I'm in a tough spot because, again, I want to see, going into the 3rd year, you competing for the division. So far, I've seen 3 games where you coached yourself out of games. Really 2. I wouldn't say 3. It's not fair of me to say 3. We'll say 2. Although if you want to say the defense in the Seattle game, I would agree. But can't have it.
No,
can't have it. Look, there's still, 13 games left. It's a long season ahead. Does it make it okay?
No, I'm with you there. I think the frustration comes from, and I could definitely agree with this, is the fact that even last year, dating back to last year, during Dan Campbell's tenure, you haven't been able to have both sides of the ball clicking at once. That's been the issue. Like last year, we talked about the defense and how they were keeping this offense in a lot of games. The offense wasn't able to close a lot of these games. Now this year, you have the number 1 offense in the worst defense in the league. And I think that speaks to some of the frustration. You have an offense right now that's ready to contend for the NFC North, I think. I think you have one of the best, if not the best, offenses in the NFC North, but your defense is dead last. Your defense is dead last in the entire league. So that's where the frustrating part is the offense is overachieving so much or playing so well that I think expectations for fans start to go all over the place. Because for me, I still have them at 7-8 wins like you. I think they could still reach that mark. I think their offense can still get there. But their defense, though, like that's the issue. I didn't know how bad they would be on defense. And you could call it an Aaron Glenn. You can call it a personnel issue, a youth issue. But the overall, the fact of the matter is this defense has to be better. You can go through these defenses in the NFL. Look at some of the worst defenses right now currently in the league. And you can't tell me the Lions have the least talent or don't lack the most talent. There's no reason for it. So for me, I think the frustration definitely stems from that offense being so far ahead of schedule that you shouldn't be 1-3. There's no way. Right now, if we went through our predictions, which me and Mike did on Jeff and Gentry, I had him at 2-2. There's no excuse. There's no excuse.
It's not that you're 1 game off.
No, it's how they lost these games. That's the problem, the context. When your offense is playing this well, 30, you score 35, 36, 24, and 45, and you're 1-3. That's the issue we're having. So we'll see. It's very early in the season. I'm not going to sit here and say the entire season's over. I didn't really have them in the playoffs to begin with, so I don't think they'll still be in there. But if you go in 6, 7, 8 wins, your season's not completely over. But it's how they're losing these games. I'm with you, Adam. It's not, they lost to the better team. They fought like hell, but they lost. There's been a lot of conversation over defensively. You could talk about different decisions that were made. That's what's frustrating, and I can agree with you. We should not be having a conversation 4 games in about doing a complete mix-up on the defensive end for the staff and talking about how bad this defense is. We're only 4 games in.
Guys, I really don't think you understand how much better you have it than teams around the league. Let's go to the Houston Texans defense. Jonathan Grenard, Malik Collins, Roy Lopez, Jerry Hughes. I'm not even going to say his name. Jalen Reeves-Maben is his backup at linebacker. Christian Kirksey, Blake Cashman, Steven Nelson at corner. Jonathan Owens, Jalen Petrie, and then Derek Stingley.
Petrie, Stingley, and Kirksey.
They're rookies.
3 players.
They're rookies.
And 2 of them are rookies. Yeah.
You want to go to the Atlanta defense? Let's go to the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons line up with Traquan Graham, Anthony Rush, Grady Jarrett, Arnold Ebiketie, Mikael Walker, Rashawn Evans. He's a rookie, by the way.
Yeah, Arnold's
Lorenzo Carter. The one standout player, A.J. Terrell. I agree 100%.
Deion Jones?
Deion Jones.
He's a stud. But other than that, you're right. It's pretty...
And Casey Hayward.
Not a ton of depth. Casey's older now at this point.
A few.
Yeah.
There are defenses. Here, I'll pull one out of my... Give me a bad team you don't like in the NFL right now.
Bears!
The Bears?
That's fine.
They have Roquan Smith, right?
Yeah, they have actually pretty good defense.
Let's say the Seattle Seahawks defense.
Yeah, let's pull them up. Jordan Brooks.
Shelby Harris, Al Woods, Poona Ford, Darrell Taylor, Jordan Brooks, Cody Barton, Mike Jackson, Josh Jones, Quandre Diggs, Tarek Woolen. It's not like you're the only team that's missing depth and talent on defense. Now, granted, some of those players on a given team, let's say Quandre Diggs in Seattle or Grady out in Atlanta, really good players. I'm not saying these teams don't have one or maybe two really good players. But across the board, it ain't much. And they find ways to get off the field, right? And that is this week's pent-up frustration. Is all these teams find a way to get off the field? You can't. All these teams find a way to score 20 points and win a game. You can't. You score 45 and find ways to lose.
Yeah, is the Lions' defense 20 points worse than the Atlanta Falcons? If you want to say the Falcons is slightly better, that's fine. But are they 20 points, really almost 28 points better? I don't see that.
And where I'm getting at with the roster comparison or everything else is, guys, everybody in the league is dealing with this, okay? I can agree with all of you at home. It's not the most talented defense. They're still missing 2, 3 really good players. 100%.
Right.
What did we talk about going into the year? Your offense would carry you. Your offensive line, your run game. You would be a pain in the ass to play against. And what do you get through 4 games? You're 1-3. You're not really much of a pain in the ass to play against outside of the offense. The defense, everybody just walks over it. And in the biggest moments, your defense finds a way to give up the big play. You want to blame it on Glenn? Do you want to blame it on Dan Campbell? I'm not in the blame game business right now. It's not November. I told you guys all last year and in the offseason. November
Tell
of
me
this
in
upcoming
November.
year.
Oh, boy.
Talk to me in November.
Go Lions.
The Lions can very well win 3 of their next 4, let's say. They beat New England. They beat Dallas. They lose to Green Bay or whatever it may be. They beat Miami because Tua's not there. You never know. Who am I to say? But what I have in front of me right now is a 1-3 football team that I think is better than their record. And that is frustrating. And no, that's not a sign of, oh, well, Adam, we're better than the record says. No. Win football games. Win football games.
Get a stop. That's all.
It doesn't take much to turn it around in the NFL. I brought up the Bills yesterday. Sean McDermott, they hire him. They have a pretty decent defense. An okay offense with Tyrod Taylor as their starting quarterback. They go 9-7. Brandon Beane comes in. Same time as McDermott. Brandon Beane's first draft, Josh Allen. Boom.
Best quarterback in the league. Go Bills.
Well,
Super Bowl.
but that was an investment pick, right? That wasn't even.
Yeah, he didn't look like the best
He
quarterback.
wasn't that,
year
and they
one.
go 6-10 that year.
Right.
But even beyond that, forget the record. If I go to, God, my computer's freezing up on me right now.
Wonder why.
Because of you. If I go to,
Thank
sorry,
you.
Fish, I love you, buddy.
Love
So
you too.
that year, Josh Allen, Tremaine Edmonds, Harrison Phillips, those are players that they got. Next year, Ed Oliver, Dawson Knox, Devin Singletary. The following year, Gabe Davis, Tyler Bass, AJ Espinenza, Gregory Rousseau. I am not worried about your team drafting and stacking picks. Your first 2 years, you have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, Aiden Hutchinson, Jamison Williams. Now, you want to bring up players that have played and showcased their talent? Fine. Take out Aiden, take out Jamison. Let's just go to your last year's draft class. St. Brown, Penei Sewell. What? Those are 2 Pro Bowl caliber players. I don't think many teams are able to pull that off. And the good teams do. That's a good start. And this year, you're hoping it's Aiden. You're hoping it is Jamison Williams. It'll be there. It'll get there. But I don't want to hear, oh, well, we need time. Time? Time. You don't have time in the NFL. And it's starting to become like that in college football. Wisconsin just fired a coach who had won the Big Ten, West. 60-plus wins, 60-plus% win percentage. And Wisconsin,
Harsh life.
do you even think they're ever going to be much than what they were? No, not good enough. How about Ed Ogeron? Wins the national championship, not even 19 months later. Out. Bye-bye. Boom. Gone. That's the business. So no, nobody has time. You can sign 5-year deals. Matt Rule signed a 8-year deal? Mm-hmm. Now he's done. He'll be done soon. When we get back, Sean Murphy is joining us to talk about the Detroit Pistons. Jaden Ivey with a hell of a preseason debut. That and so much more in a little bit. But before we do, Jeff, our good friends over at Odds Trader.
OddsTrader.com is the #1 site for your game day bets, play-by-play updates, live scores, and the best price on every game from multiple sports books. Today, Thursday Night Football. Go place your bets right now. Go to OddsTrader.com right now for your best bet.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Get your customized approach to weight loss. Think of all the ways that weight affects your health mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Custom Health Centers is blessed to have had over 20,000 success stories, and it's been their honor to help many professional athletes and regular people like me and you lose weight and improve their health. Start losing weight today by calling Dr. Jason and Custom Health Centers at 844-789-8446. That's 844-789-8446. And we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, joined by Sean Murphy. Sean, good morning, buddy.
My guy, Adam, I almost wore that exact same bomber jacket this morning, so bummed, man. Just left that right in my wardrobe.
Yeah, I almost put a green screen behind me, too, this morning.
Oh, man, Adam, you could have had such a pleasure.
Uncalled for, buddy.
I'm telling you, just having that opportunity that anyone could Photoshop you, it's great. That's what you need. I'd recommend it.
Oh, God. All right. Well, Sean, look, Jaden Ivey, hell of a preseason debut. 0 turnovers, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Could have been way more assists. He was everything and more in his debut. Your thoughts on his first game in a Detroit Pistons uniform?
Yeah, I know a lot of people are making, a big deal and felt like the sky was falling after the Pistons lost their first preseason competition. But the first thing that you wanted to see out of this preseason, but out of just that first game as a whole, is, do your rookies look like pros? Yes or no? And when the lights are brightest, Jaden Ivey looked like he was calm. I mean, this was a game that, not only was nationally televised, but was in the Madison Square Garden, which is still the mecca of the basketball world. And so for him to go in and, in a night when the Pistons struggled with turnovers, to not have a single turnover, to have a night where, your stars are struggling to connect from the field, for him to go 6 of 9 from the field. And quite frankly, for the most part, it looked like he wasn't forcing things, which is something that, rookie guards, especially, Jaden Ivey, is something that, was criticized of him going in. So I would say that, he looked like, the stage wasn't too big for him. That's really all you can ask. But also, if you just look at the composition of the lineup, if you look at where the Pistons, stack up just by the eye test alone compared to last season, it's immediately a different lineup with him on the court. Just his size, his wings. He has a 6'10" wingspan, and all of that wingspan was apparent on the court as well. The guy's just, his game-changing speed at this level, he's already one of the quickest players in the NBA. But then, in addition, if he can keep playing that composed, he's going to have a hell of a rookie season.
Another player that we were paying attention to, Killian Hayes. We know it's a confidence thing. We're kind of rooting for Killian Hayes in that way. And you go out, he leads the team in shots, or at least ties the team in the most shots taken. For Killian Hayes, for things that we got to see, what we've been seeing in the offseason, what did you see out of Killian Hayes? And because we talk about him coming off the bench, he's going to have to be more aggressive. Because I love when people make the jokes about being a 6th or 7th man. If you're going to be a 6th or 7th man, you got to take some shots. So for Killian, what'd you make of his play so far? I know it's one preseason game, but maybe does that tell you a little bit about what you're going to be seeing in the regular season from Killian Hayes?
Yeah, Killian was aggressive. I mean, he looked to come out and set the tone, the first second that, he checked into the game. I mean, when you look at Killian Hayes' shot chart, and he's 5 of 12 from the field, he almost had as many attempts, as Cade did that night. I mean, that just shows you where the tone is being set. And it wasn't just on the offensive end for Killian either. It was on the defensive end. He came out and set the tone early as well. For Killian, it's never been a physical attributes thing. If you look at what he has on paper, his abilities, against other guards in the league, he's one of he is one of the more promising point guard prospects in the NBA. It's always been a mentality, always been a mindset with him. And even just simple things like adding the mid-range jump shot to his game, which is something that it is a much easier shot to take than a lot of step back threes. I do think that he is still going to have to figure out like how to both be aggressive but also still pick his shots, because a lot of people think aggression is you just need to take all of the shots, which is not true. That's not how that works. You need to still pick your spots well. But listen, I mean, Killian was attacking. He said at media day, these first 2 years were how I expected. I want this year to be different. He knew what he needed to do, and he said he knew what he needed to do, and it showed, on Tuesday night, because he came out and set the tone. And if he keeps playing like that, it's definitely an improved Killian compared to what we've had before.
Well, Sean, look, Jalen Duren to me is another one that stood out in the first preseason game. His timeline, I think, to become a 5 or the starting 5, hopefully sooner than later. Isaiah Stewart proved not only last season, but even in just preseason competition to start, he's a 4. Am I wrong on saying Stewart's a 4 and that Duren, ideally in the next 6 months, takes the steps needed to be the starting 5 on this team?
Yeah, one of the first things that was apparent when I was watching Jalen Duren, a lot of conversation that we've had over this summer, Jeff, you and I were even talking about, is this guy going to touch a G League gym? The answer to that is a resounding no, because when you look at the guy, it's like, oh my Lord, the athlete that he is, everything that he had, like this guy's ready to be in the NBA day one. And actually in a video, that I actually have dropping later today, one of the things that I mentioned in it was it seems to me that, with Jalen Duren, he seems like the X factor this season. And, that conversation, it feels like that conversation at some point here soon is going to be, when does he step into the starting lineup? Because, I mean, you touched on it, Adam. I don't like to draw too many conclusions from a preseason game. I don't like to, overreact to things from preseason, because it is just that, preseason. However, your starting front court combined for 5 rebounds, and Isaiah Stewart only had 1 of them. That's not good enough. You can't have that from your starting 5 in almost any circumstance. And Jalen Duren came in and in 24 minutes off the bench had 14 boards, had 5 in the first 3 minutes, was guarding, multiple positions, even on the perimeter. But listen, man, Jalen Duren is a physical specimen, and it seems to me like we could very much be having a conversation about him entering the starting lineup sooner rather than later, especially if he keeps playing like that. Yeah, we're going to be having that conversation pretty soon.
And Sean, I know obviously it's preseason. We're not going to base what we see in terms of the starting lineup on the official starting lineup on opening night. But in your opinion, the Pistons extend Marvin Bagley. They get that contract done in the offseason. What do you do with Marvin, in your opinion? Do you start Bojan Bogdanovic or do you start Marvin? Because for me personally, we've talked about this before too. And honestly, I don't mind Marvin coming off the bench with Killian, with the other guys like Livers and Duren. But in your opinion, what do you do? Would you rather start Bojan or would you start Marvin Bagley?
It's interesting, right? Because when you look on paper, the lineup that the Pistons might really want to be running out with, is the one that they put out there, on Tuesday night with Bojan and Isaiah Stewart in the lineup. But the one thing I think we saw in that matchup, but also the one general flaw with that lineup, is the size that we're giving up. If the Pistons are going to be in a position where they're having that much difficulty rebounding the ball with that starting lineup, they might need to go with Marvin Bagley over Bojan because of that size difference. The one thing is that Bojan Bogdanovic is a consummate professional. He knows how to play the basketball. He spaces the floor insanely well. He's a walking 15, 16 points a night, and he showed it even on Tuesday night. He looked like he's been on the team all summer, and he literally just came in a week ago. I think with Marvin Bagley, he is in a prime position to still succeed this season. He's still going to have a significant role and significant touches. I think for him, I think he's going to start the season coming off the bench. I think that's a good role for him and to not have over expectations. But at the same time, it's one of those things where, he's going to have to work alongside Jalen Duren as well. Like, he's going to have to be able to somewhat space the court. So I'm interested to see where Marvin Bagley's game goes this season. I think for now, though, I think they're going to want Bojan in that starting lineup.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Fair enough. Well, Sean, look, I want to wrap up with one more question for you. The East, I believe, has never been better, probably in the last 15, 20 years, than it is right now. We talk about timeline for success with the Pistons, young core. You're still looking at 3, 4, maybe 5 years, but I would say 3 or 4 years before we have a conversation of whether or not they can compete. But how much of that is dependent on Jaden Ivey and Cade Cunningham? How much of that is just, hey, this is the NBA. We all know that stars take typically 3, 4, 5 years to develop. And that's the Pistons timeline that we're going to stick with.
Yeah, I think when you're looking at this roster, I mean, to your point, Adam, this Eastern Conference is the best it's been in a long time. Even that New York Knicks team that we played, that on paper, I know a lot of people like to make fun of the New York Knicks, but that's a better team that people gave credit for, and even then, they might not even make the play-in themselves. That's how deep this Eastern Conference is. But on the other hand, I think you also might be seeing more teams tanking than ever this year as well because of the Victor Wembanyama, Scoot Henderson sweepstakes which that's a whole other can of worms. I think the Pistons are looking to, the Pistons during, media day and during their training camp, they've talked about how this season is about doing what you just said, Adam, competing. But I think, I think there's competing and then there's contending, right? I think for the Pistons, it's about how do you play meaningful basketball games this season, even if it's not necessarily in the playoffs. How is it that we, by the end of the season, can be playing for standing, some form of prize or purpose? I think that's the important thing, for the Pistons this year, is to put yourselves in meaningful games of any form of consequence. Even if you don't win them, it's just about having that experience in general. I think when you're looking at, what kind of talent it takes to take the turn and to take that next step as a franchise, I think on paper the Pistons have a good amount of talent. I just think it's going to come down to, how this team can stay healthy. What potential moves they make this season to continue to support this roster, but also, I think, like you said, it's like, like you need to give your stars time to develop, time to grow. But at the same time, I think you also do have stars who are primed, to have some pretty big success. I mean, Sadiq's in year 3 himself. Isaiah Stewart is showing that he's, even though, he showed some struggles on the boards, he still showed some areas where he has some promise. So I think this team could make some noise this year. And I don't want to make any conclusions off of that from the first preseason game, but to your point, Adam, it's not going to be easy in this Eastern Conference. This is the best. This is the best this conference has been in a long time.
All right, well, there's a growing controversy here at the Woodward Sports Network, specifically on the morning show. Did you call in yesterday?
No. Literally, I have no clue what you're talking about. I was working when you called me initially. I was actually inside baseball. I was actually leading a meeting, and so I looked down at my phone. I was insanely confused. I have no idea what you're even talking about.
All right, well, somebody called yesterday, sounded exactly like you, and they were honestly...
It's Steve from Waterford, just admit it.
Yeah.
Waterford.
All right, well, Sean, you did a hell of a job today. Thank you so much. Well done, dude. We'll talk soon, okay?
Go Pistons.
See you, Sean.
Sounds good, man. Love you guys.
Appreciate it. All right, when we get back, Jared Goff comes in at number 11 on the NFL.com's latest quarterback rankings list, ahead of Matthew Stafford, by the way, by 2 spots. Jeff, very, very, very interesting.
Yeah, I got some issues with this list.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're going to get into it.
Oh, no way.
We're going to get into it.
I thought you would love this list.
No, I do, but...
All right, fair enough.
I just need some explanation, explaining. I think you can help me.
That's fine. We'll get to it in just a second. But before we do, I got to tell you guys about Planet Fitness. They are now offering a special $1 down $1 down for $10 a month from now till October 14th. If you act fast, join today in club or online at planetfitness.com. We will be broadcasting live from Planet Fitness on Ryan Road in Sterling Heights all day. Wednesday, October 26th, and we're giving away big prizes like Michigan State tickets with a 1 free year of the Black Card membership, a signed Darren McCarty jersey, and a signed Braylon Edwards jersey. All that and more. October 26th, we will be live at Planet Fitness. We'll be right back.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
When you need apparel, there's only one place to go. Big Frog in Novi. With no setup fees, no artwork fees, no minimum, and a 24-hour turnaround, you can have your whole team outfitted in no time. Embroidery, direct-to-garment, vinyl, and screen printing, Big Frog has it all in all the styles you want. So whether it's a sports team, fundraiser, school event, or corporate needs, Big Frog is your one-stop destination. Visit bigfrog.com/Novi or call 844-4-BIG-FROG.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there. And that one Lions playoff win in 1991. Yeah, Detroit fans were there. Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, 8:47. Thank you to everybody watching over at woodwardsports.com and commenting in the Woodward Sports chat. Appreciate it as always. Jeff Iafrate, Adham, Beydoun. Jeff, Jared Goff comes in at number 11 on the NFL.com's latest quarterback rankings list. I'll start with your issues you have. Too high, too low? Where's the issue here?
The reason why, I just don't like the inconsistency, and I'll tell you why. So if you look at the first, we'll say 8, I have no problem with it. You know, you have number 1, and I'll read them off because it's hard. People don't know what we're talking about. Number 1 is Patrick Mahomes on NFL.com. Number 2 is Josh Allen. Number 3 is Lamar Jackson. Number 4 is Jalen Hurts. No issues. 5, Justin Herbert. 6, Aaron Rodgers. 7, Tom Brady. 8, Joe Burrow. Now we get to 9 and 10. Which are Geno Smith and Kyler Murray. And if you want to tell me that those guys are playing at a higher level than Jared, that's fine. I would disagree. But I just need context on where we're basing. Like for Geno, for example, the reasoning he's at 9 is there's organic tension ranking these quarterbacks. How do you balance the arc of their careers against their past 4 weeks? Do I see Smith as a more genuine talent than Matthew Stafford? No. Do I believe Geno is on a personal hot streak for the ages after Sunday's nearly perfect performance against the Lions? Bingo. So if we're basing it off previous performances,
Find that egregious. And that was just from his one performance against the Lions. But if you look at Geno and who's at number 10, Kyler Murray, you look at them, you add their stats combined. Geno Smith and Kyler Murray combined have thrown for the same amount of touchdowns as Jared Goff has through the first 4 games of the year. And combined, they have thrown more interceptions. And combined, they've barely... Oh, goodness me, man. It is...
Hold up.
What is it? Am I missing something?
Audio's good now, right?
Oh, God bless Fish. Thank you.
Okay, because I just went on that rant and my audio didn't work, but it's okay.
What do you mean?
The rant about Jared being 11th. No one heard it, but it's okay. It's all right.
Wait, what? Fish, what are you doing?
It's all right.
Stop pressing buttons.
I'm not. There's an echo. I don't know what I'm doing.
So why are you muting Jeff?
I didn't mute anyone. Nothing's been muted. Just keep doing. Fine.
You suck at your job.
Then I'll leave. Bye.
All right, yeah,
There's golf I want to watch
now.
in Spain.
Basically,
All right.
and just to oh,
Go ahead,
dang,
Jeff.
okay. Well, just to summarize,
You got canceled, so
Yeah.
by Fish.
The only problem I had is, so if you guys heard a little bit of my rant, I'll just give it a quick summary because you kind of are going the same direction I'm going in, and I agree with you. Patrick Mahomes is 1, Josh Allen's 2, Lamar's 3, Jalen Hurts is 4, Justin Herbert's 5, Aaron Rodgers is 6, and then Tom Brady, Joe Burrow, 7 and 8. I have no issue with those guys. Those guys are playing, you could argue better, maybe not statistically, but overall, better records, or just playing better than Jared. That's fine. Number 9, Geno Smith. Number 10, Kyler Murray. Number 12, Ryan Tannehill. That's kind of the area Jared Goff's in. I would argue Kyler Murray right now, if you combine Geno's passing touchdowns and Kyler's, Kyler has 5 passing touchdowns, Geno has 6, Jared has 11. So I don't know why he's ranked behind these guys. He's playing the best football besides those 8 guys I just named. He's better than Geno right now. He's better than Kyler Murray. He's better than Tannehill. So that was my point, is Jared deserves to be the 9th best quarterback right now, but they have him at 11th. That's fine. It's 2 spots. I'm not going to sit here and nitpick. But I think the bigger thing to take away is look where Jared is right now. Did any of us expect him to be playing at, even if he was 9th, the 9th best quarterback in the NFL right now? No, I didn't. So I think it speaks a lot to Ben. It speaks a lot to the offense. Jared Goff's confidence and his ability. But on top of that, man, it really shows what they're building. So it's great. It's a great thing. I mean, think about it. Jared's ranked 2 spots ahead of Matthew Stafford. I mean, and you got 2 first-round picks with it and a 3rd round.
Yeah, look, we also have to remember, right, this rankings list was put together before the season too, right? So I'm sure they had Stafford maybe in the top 7, top 8.
Right.
And then they have to move him back. And Kyler Murray the same way, and they have to move him back. So it is up and down every week. I think it's impressive that he's at 11. What I tell you going into the year, and honestly, you've been saying it just as long as I have, he's middle of the park, or excuse me, middle of the pack, right? Anywhere between 15 and 18. When he's on his game, he could get up to 12, right? He's at 11 right now. And if I would have told you, Jeff, close your eyes, forget the record, forget everything that you've watched. If I would have told you 4 games into the season, I didn't tell you anything else, this is Jared Goff's stat line. 61% completion percentage, 1,100 yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
I'd say he's a top 10 quarterback right now. That's a top 10 quarterback stat.
And of all the quarterbacks in the top 10, Kyler Murray, Geno Smith, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes. Of all of those quarterbacks that I just named, Jared Goff has more touchdowns and yards than them. The only 2 that have more are Josh Allen, Justin Herbert, and that is it.
He just doesn't have the defense. Those guys.
Think about that.
fortunately
That is
have.
insane.
Yeah, it is.
And look, we can say, well, they're playing from behind, or they got to do this. Well, he's still going out there and performing.
Right, and that's not even the case either.
So this isn't, to me, this isn't even garbage points,
No,
garbage yards.
no.
Granted, you were down to double digits. Yeah, okay, fine. Against Philly, against even Seattle. You still got to go out there and execute. And these weren't meaningless touchdowns where you're down 21 and you score late. These are, we're trying to come back. Defense, can you do something here?
Or even early in the game. It seems like when this offense converts that first down, the very first down, and they go on a run, they score every single time. Like if they go 3 and out and they punt, it's either 3 and out or you score a touchdown. So this offense, I don't want to hear the garbage time thing. I mean, this offense has been responding every game. I get against the Eagles, they had that comeback, but still, I'm not going to sit here and take credit away from the offense. It's unbelievable how well they're playing. Imagine if you had a defense about 5 rankings higher. You'd probably be 3-1. But it is what it is.
That's the team aspect.
Yeah.
All right?
But Jared individually.
Circling back to Jared, do I think he'll continue to play at this level? I don't. You know, I love me some Ben Johnson. I know you do too.
He's on pace for 5,000,
I just don't think
44.
this is sustainable.
Yeah, no, touchdowns.
And I think you need to play a different way if you want to win. What did we say going into the year, you and I? What is the way the Detroit Lions can win football games this year? Time of possession.
Yep.
Forcing turnovers. The ability to run the football. Control the clock. Keep opposing offenses off the field. Be efficient on third down. Be efficient in the red zone. You are not an air raid offense. I don't want to see Jared Goff averaging almost 300 yards a game. I don't want to see that. That is counter to what your identity is. I want to see you be able to run the football a ton. Kill the clock. Go on 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 play drives. Soak up 5, 6, 7 minutes. That is your recipe for success, and they've gotten away from it. You saw it a little bit against Washington. They failed to execute on a few drives in the first half, but even the second half, Washington came out, they started answering. What'd the offense do?
Boom,
all
answer.
right, we can't be conservative. We're going to go downfield and score. Great. But you got to play your game. Same thing against Minnesota. You were up. You got to run the ball better in the fourth quarter. I know we only talk about the decision and the field goal and the KJ Osborne touchdown, but you want me to be fair here? Got to run the ball better in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, you got to run the ball.
Got to execute
period.
on third down in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
You got to keep those drives alive in the fourth quarter, like Philly did against you. Why? To keep the clock going. That's it. That's it. Let's go to the people a little bit. Let's check out the Woodward Sports chat. Goff is 28 for real. Goff on pace for 4,700 yards and 47 touchdowns. Bob's big boy. That is impressive. I just don't think that's sustainable. I think we all agree, though.
Yeah, no,
right?
it's not happening.
This offense can't continue to play like this.
I could see him throwing 30s, somewhere in the 30s.
Oh, he'll get 30 now. Yeah, I'm feeling good about 30. We called the over on his touchdowns this year. I think it was set at, what, 22, 23 and a half this year?
Yeah, it was insanely low.
Jeff, if ranked 30th, they would be 4-0. Punch the numbers. Literally.
Yeah,
If they were just ranked the 30th defense, they probably could be 4-0. Who knows? The Hurts slander is ridiculous. I know you love Jalen Hurts, so I'm the one who messed up on Jalen Hurts last year.
Well, I listen. I kind of do get into it with Ryan about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I before the season, I said he had to prove it to me. I'm gonna be honest with you. He's proved it to me. So he's a hell of a quarterback. But of course, I'm a little skeptical of Hurts. I did say the Eagles have a Super Bowl roster. Hurts is the only thing I'm not completely sold on, but he's playing well. He deserves to be in these rankings. That's why Jared being at 11 is just, with his stats, tied first in the NFL in passing touchdowns. It's impressive, man. I mean, he should be 9, but who cares?
All right.
I'm nitpicking.
Well, look, Michael, do me a favor. I'd like to pin a comment in the Woodward Sports chat. Let's put out the number, 313-552-6322. I want to hear from you guys now. You, the people. We did the Detroit Lions State of the Union a little bit earlier. Why the frustration? Why this? Why that? We're going to get to top of the hour. We're going to continue it. We're going to talk about Matt Patricia, the damage he did, more so than even Bob Quinn during his time here with the Detroit Lions. I want to hear from you guys about Matt Patricia. I want questions. And on top of it, I want to know your thoughts on the Detroit Lions through 4 games. We are almost a quarter way through the season. Your thoughts. I want to hear them. The number's in the chat pinned at the top, 313-552-6322. That's 313-552-6322. Jeff, we'll take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll go to the people. Jesse, I'll answer your call. Shut up. Shut up, Jesse. Anyways, Jeff, do me a favor. Tell everybody at home about our awesome friends over at Big Frog.
Guys, you can get a free Woodward Sports t-shirt at Big Frog all month long at Big Frog and Novi. Just stop in and tell them we sent you. They will print one out for you on the spot. Go to Big Frog and Novi today. Get your free t-shirt, or you can visit them online at bigfrog.com/Novi.
For a limited time only, all new burgers and loaded fries at Big Boy. It's not a Slim Jim, it's the Big Jim. The chili cheese is such a tease. Guess what else is new? The bacon blue. How about upgrading those fries? Chili cheese fries, baked potato fries, nacho fries. What will it be? Satisfy those taste buds at Big Boy.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been, I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
Time to talk about Swiss. Not Ham and Swiss, Swiss Insurance Group. Did you know that 1 in 6 kids will develop a medical condition that makes them uninsurable? Swiss Insurance can save you money on your auto and home, resulting in no out-of-pocket cost to insure your children. Check in with Mark at Swiss Insurance and make sure your family is protected.
All right, we are back here on the Morning Woodward Show, top of the hour. Thank you for joining us over at woodwardsports.com. To everybody in the Woodward Sports chat, you can see it pinned at the top of the chat. The call-in number, 313-552-6322. We want to hear from you, the people. So we'll start. Jeff, before we take a call, I want to revisit the state of the Lions. They're 1-3 through 4 games. I don't want to sit here and smash the panic button, but I am concerned. Right. And it's not about the record, and I'm really trying to differentiate the two. It's very important. 7-10. There are 10 losses in that preseason prediction. 10 losses. I can live with that. Show me improvement. But when you're making the same mistakes, the same judgmental calls that are mistakes, the onside kicks, the timeouts, whatever it may be, the field goal, whatever it may be, not closing out games, that to me is the concern. It's not so much that, well, they're 1-3.
Right.
No, you're going to go stretches where you're 2-2 over 4 games, or you're 3-1, and then when you're 1-3, you're 0-4 in those stretches. That's what a 5, 6, 7 win team looks like, right? And this is a team that currently is on pace to win 4 games. I do think they're better than what their record indicates. I do see a lot of positives, especially on the offense.
3 out of the first 4 games are at home. Got to add that in there.
But let's go to Dorian out in North Dakota. Dorian, you're on the Morning Woodward Show. What do you got for us this morning, buddy?
All right. Good morning, everyone. All right. So to kind of to recap what you were saying about the state of the Lions, so like what I'm witnessing through the first 4 weeks is, yes, that the offense has exceeded expectations, you know, with them being able to move the ball up and down the field, especially with the run game. But it's kind of reminiscent of how things were last year with how the offense was struggling so much while the defense was still able to get things out and about. But I think this year we're seeing a reverse being true, with the defense basically still kind of struggling with certain things. Maybe I think with Aaron Glenn maybe getting a little too overconfident with this scheme, and it's basically causing confusion and issues. And I think a lot of the defenders are probably having a lot of mental lapses because they're thinking too much rather than just playing the game, which is why I feel like they're trying to simplify it, because trying to go back to basics to where they were last year, and then, you know, eventually with more, you know, talent that they add, they'll be able to,
I like the way you phrase that, Dorian. That's really important to understand, because I think you and I agree, and Jeff would agree as well. It's not the most talented defense in the NFL, and it's not overwhelmingly more talented than the offense, right? They don't have a defensive front like you have on the offensive line, right? You don't have those big bodies. You don't have those big playmakers. You don't have an Amon-Ra St. Brown on the defense, right? You're stuck with Jeff Okudah, who I'm not sure what he is yet. He had a few good weeks, first roadblock of the season. We'll see how he recovers. Malcolm is okay. There isn't much pressure, but the fact that you have to go back to basics, I mean, where is identifying in-game, right? The in-game coaching decisions. Where are the adjustments? Where is, you know what, our offense is clicking right now against Seattle. How about we just simplify it a little bit going into the half? Let's take a step back. Let's do a few things that we know will work, and let's go see if our offense can beat their offense in the second half. They didn't even do that. They got burnt on 3rd and 16. They were burnt on 3rd and 5. I can go on and on. Dorian, it is, to me right now, I'm not frustrated with the record. And I do want to know if you are. It's not the record that kills me. It's how you got there. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I'm kind of like in the same boat. You know, they're definitely punching above their weight a little bit with the way that they've been playing. I'm not as frustrated with the record. I only have them really winning 7 games anyway. You know, but now with the way things are with the defense, it's going to be a little bit harder going into the rest of the season. So tweaks and adjustments have to be made, or else they're going to basically be picking very high up in the top 10 again. And then, questions have to be asked about the coaching staff at this point, not so much Brad Holmes, because I feel like he knows what he's doing up there, But like you said, the coach is the one who has to basically put and cook everything together and make a perfectly good game plan. And that's kind of where we're struggling right now.
Well, fair enough, Dorian. We appreciate you calling in this morning, man. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Man, Jeff, that's actually a really good point. One of the things maybe we as individuals, as humans, right? It's our nature. The overreaction will kick in every once in a while, or you get super animated. But he said exactly what I said maybe 30 minutes ago, which is they're 1-3. The record isn't what kills me. It's how you got here, right? You're better than what that record indicates.
Right.
And it's not lining up.
And that's why when people say, I still think they can get 7-8 wins, like even me saying that,
but
can they?
Where does that confidence come from?
The offense.
Thank you.
But if we talk about them not being able to keep up at the rate they're going,
when's the defense going to make that adjustment as well? I'm with you, dude. I'm with you.
It
to
really
start
is.
1-3, you really put a dent on any possibility that 8 wins was feasible going into the year, or even really 7 right now. You're on pace for 4. Let's go to Bob out in Shepherd, Michigan. Bob, you have comments on the Lions defense and how it compares to years past. Go for it, Bob. You're on the Morning Woodward Show.
Hey, good morning. How you guys doing?
Good morning,
How you
doing, Bob?
Good. I just see, like, I get a little frustrated with, we try to compare this to the past teams. When you look at when we made playoff runs, you had guys like Sue and Fairley and Levy and what's the corner I'm thinking of in Philly now? Slay.
Oh, yep, Darius
You
Slay.
had some players on that side of the ball. I mean, we just don't have that. I think it's forcing the offense to go for it 4th down and over again because they know they can't stop anybody. And I really think we need to draft defense in the upcoming draft. It's got to be top priority with the front and some type of coverage players.
I'm 100% with you. I think defense needs to be the focus this upcoming draft, and that's why the whole, everyone criticizing Aiden Hutchinson. Look at what Ndamukong Suh had around him. I'm not saying Ndamukong Suh had the best defensive line around him in football, but he had talent. Aiden doesn't have that right now around him, so you got to give it time. But I'm with you. I think defense should be the number one priority going into this upcoming draft. Not a quarterback. I mean, your quarterback's playing at a top 11, top 10 rate right now in football. And I just don't. I'm with you, man. I think defense is the number one concern moving forward. It has to be.
Yeah, totally impressed with the offense. I knew they would be good, but I didn't know they'd be this good.
Right.
But at some point, we just got to stop somebody.
Yep.
And we got to shorten the field for our offense. And I don't get the whole 4th down thing. I'm not real big fan of going for it on all these 4th downs. I think you punt it, play defense. But if your defense can't hold, then maybe that's what they're forced to do, I guess. So.
Right.
Fair enough. Well, Bob, appreciate you calling in this morning. You have a good rest of your day, man.
You too. Thanks, guys.
Yep. All right, let's go to Riggs out in Tennessee. Riggs, you're on the Morning Woodward Show. What do you got for us, buddy?
Hi, how are you guys this morning?
Good. How are you, man?
Good.
So I was on Twitter yesterday. I don't know if you guys seen it last night. T.J. Lang was highlighting different plays, and like the defensive ends, so mainly Harris and Hutchinson, they're not deciding who goes in and who goes out. They're both just running right into each other. To me, that falls on coaching. Coaching's got to be able to see that. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. That has been my pet peeve to start the year. I do think they're doing some really good things as a team. I do think they're doing some really bad things. And coaching, for me, is always the X factor. Coaching can overcome a lack of talent more often than a lack of talent can overcome coaching. Right? You can have all the talent in the world. If you have bad coaching, well, it's kind of irrelevant. We've seen this before. It plays out. There's a ceiling. But good coaching can take an average team and take it maybe a step higher or even a step higher than that. You saw Stefanski come in, take a very talented Cleveland Browns team, win Coach of the Year, and they went to the playoffs, won a playoff game with Baker Mayfield. That's coaching. And then you saw that very same team struggle without him. Right? So I think you're spot on the coaching aspect. They got to do more. You have to be able to make adjustments. I'm not calling for anybody's head right now, Riggs, but what I am asking is, when are we going to start asking the tough questions of what is our coaching staff? What is the coaching staff in this town doing to help this team improve? I can point out to the offense and say, man, they're doing really good. Cool. What other compliments can I give your football team outside of the offense, who I'm not even happy with how they're executing, because that goes against their identity. I don't want Jared Goff throwing for 1,200 yards through 4 games. I don't. I want to be able to control the clock. I want to be able to control time of possession. How many chances the offense on the opposing side gets. That's it. That's all I care about. That is your formula. That's what you built this offensive line for. And to have to drop back 30, 35, 40 times a game, Riggs, I think, goes against their identity and how they're going to win football games this year.
Exactly. And one more thing. I think I'd like to see Bugs a little bit more. I think he'd be better against the run, because McNeil has been a non-factor from what I have seen.
And that's been the difference, too, from teams like the Atlanta Falcons. Like, at least the Falcons could stop the run. The Lions have failed to do that. So I'm with you. I know they just converted. I think they signed an undrafted free agent. I'm trying to remember his name. I was just reading about it, and he's converted to DN. So they're going to be trying things. And I think that's what Dan alluded to when he talked about switching up the personnel. But we'll see. I mean, listen, anything to just get one stop. That's all I'm asking for. All right? That's not a top 15. That's all. That's all. Hey, appreciate your call, man.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it, Riggs. Thank you so much. Oh, man. Look, Jeff, we're going to have the same conversation. And you know what? Tomorrow, jam-packed show, Matt Patricia, the Lions, how it affects the team moving forward, staring ahead at 1-4 or 2-3, how big of a difference is that going into the bye week, all that. But the reality is, I think all these fans that are calling in, it's pretty similar. Hey, where's the coaching to stop the bleeding here, right? None of those people that just called in asked for a top 5 defense, top 10, top 15, not even top 20. They're just asking to make a few stops a game and give this offense a chance.
Let's get a stop.
Oh, God. Kenneth has a bone to pick with me. Kenneth, you're on the Morning Woodward Show. Kenneth, what'd I do to you?
Yes, and good morning, Adam. Good morning, Jeff, and good morning, Fish. I would just like to say, I want you to say one good thing about the Lions, because you always, every single time you get on this show, you talk nothing but bad about the Lions. And you know what? I'm going to say something bad about you. Your Blazer looks stupid, and I said it.
You're a legend.
I love it. I love it. Kenneth, I say a lot of good things about this football team. I compliment the offensive line. I talk about how good the offense is. I absolutely do.
You get on every single morning.
I have a man crush. I would leave my wife for Ben Johnson, Kenneth. You know this.
You know what? I'm so sick and tired of you talking bad about the Lions. They're going to get 10 wins this year, and I'm sick and tired
Kenneth,
of you and your stupid hookah.
Kenneth, I miss smoking. I need them to win games so I can smoke. Damn it. Kenneth,
the only one there with logic and reason is Fish, and I'm out.
Appreciate it, Kenneth. What the hell was that?
The fact that he ended it with the only one with logic and reason is Fish, that just dropped the
Fish, how do you feel about that? That is the first caller to call in and compliment you.
As they should.
As they should. I agree,
the Lions
buddy.
are going to win 10 games. How do you not?
God bless you.
You guys are... Whatever coke you're snorting, man. Holy
hey, whoa,
hell.
whoa. That's us thing. Hey.
Oh, yeah. The hookah. No, I love that, man. I love that color. It's hilarious.
All right, let's go to Fish, what kind of name is that? K?
Jesus, he wanted that name. K.
Really? All right.
I asked him for his name.
This is why you suck at your job.
Get someone else to come in here then.
Good
morning. For a year.
You're on the Morning Woodward Show. What do you got?
All right, what did we expect going into the season, guys? I mean, we have nobody on defense other than Hutch, and we're relying on a 6th-round defense pick to resurrect our defense. Like, this was going to happen. I don't understand the surprise by everybody, and we don't have to fire the head coach and start all over because it played out the way we thought it would. Everybody that's a star on our team plays on the offensive side of the ball.
Look, I think you're right. The problem I have isn't that the statement you just made is incorrect, right? I'll tell you my expectation. It was 7-10. That's 10 losses. It's a lot of losses. But you have the ability with that offense, and like you said, all the good starters are on offense. You have a lot of potential there. On defense, though, going into the season, did we not talk about Aaron Glenn? His ability to coach up talent last year, how good of a job he did. And now with Jeff Okudah returning fully healthy, you're getting a corner added to the team, along with a 2nd overall pick in Aiden Hutchinson. Josh Pascal eventually will be back. Malcolm Rodriguez, I don't know how, suddenly turned into a starting linebacker. I think that's more damning on the current group. And then Tracy Walker going down doesn't help, of course, but I think where I'm kind of struggling here, Co, is I'm not asking for a top 20, 22, top 24 defense. I'm just asking for good enough to keep you in most games and give your offense a chance to win you those games, no?
I mean, that's fair, but I still think we're about 2 good starters from being good enough to do that.
I think you're right on the defensive side of the ball, but I also think, to be fair, 10 of his 15 picks, meaning Barrett Holmes, have been on the defense. Derek Barnes has been out there. Now, is he some great player? No, he's not. Malcolm's out there. Yeah. Is he some great player? No, he's not. You haven't drafted a St. Brown or a Sewell yet on the defensive side of the ball. Now, you want that to be Aiden Hutchinson, but the reality is that's not there right now. But even with all that, and even if I agree and say, yes, they're 2 players away on defense from even getting there, the reality is you still should be able to do a little more than what you're doing now, right? I'm not expecting you to give up almost 36 points a game. That is unheard of.
Yeah, historically bad.
So that's where I'm at this morning. I appreciate the call. It was a damn good call, Co. Appreciate it. You're welcome back anytime, man.
All right, thanks, man.
Yep.
Take care.
Yeah, look, Jeff, we'll take a quick break. We'll continue with the callers coming out. I want to talk about how damaging Matt Patricia was, more so than even Bob Quinn, to this Lions football team, how they'll recover, how they've done so far in the recovery process, what I like, what I don't like, and along with what you don't like. That and so much more coming up in just a bit. But before we go, Jeff, our good friends over at the Sports Marketing Agency.
The Sports Marketing Agency helps spread awareness about mental health and substance abuse. Their new podcast, This is the S Word, helps fight the stigma about seeking help. If you or someone you know is struggling, head to thesportsma.com for more information.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag up. There they go, right on the whistle. Baby, talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck is the home of the original football bowling game, 2 to play for $12, the unlimited open play, or you could pay $120 and you can get the lane reservation for up to 10 people. They have the $2 Mr. Beer machine, the full bar. Check it all out, fullingwarehouse.com.
All right, cool. We are back, 9:18 here on the Woodward Sports Network. Thank you to everybody watching over at woodwardsports.com. And everybody commenting in the Woodward Sports chat. The dial-in number is pinned to the top of the Woodward Sports chat, 313-552-6322. All right. Matt Patricia sucks. Matt Patricia sucks. Matt Patricia sucks. Having said that, he is arguably, I think, the worst coach in Detroit Lions history. And that's not saying much given how bad he was, but the point and where I want to go in this direction is the damage he did, I do think really hurt you. It did set you back. And there's a reason why a lot of people gave last year as a pass to this organization and this team and this coaching staff. Hey, you know what? The damage was so severe that we understand it may take an additional year than normal. But I want to know what you guys think. Just how far back did Patricia, and even Quinn, if you want to combine the two, set back this franchise? And I'll tell you what, in the 2 drafts I've gotten since Bob Quinn has been gone, I've managed to draft Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, Jamison Williams, Josh Pascal to be determined, Jamison to be determined. Hutch is only 4 games in, not losing my mind over that. But you got 2 legitimate starters who could go play anywhere in the NFL in your first draft. You could have that in your second draft. And you do that for a third and a fourth year, now you're talking about really building a contender. That's number 1 reality. Number 2, coaching matters. And I am not sold on the coaching yet, but I'm also not I also haven't given up on the coaching either. So I'm kind of in the middle right now. I'm not overly impressed with the head coach. I'm not overly disappointed with the head coach. I'm still in the middle. I'm still neutral, and I'm not ready to make a decision on him yet. Having said that, what do you at home think? Let's go to Eric out in Detroit. Eric, you're on the Morning Woodward Show. What do you got for us this morning, buddy?
What's up, guys?
What's up, man?
What's going on?
Nothing much. Y'all know I called in Monday, went on my little rant, but I had some time to woosah, think about things. Adam, I'm kind of with you on this, because if you look at the damage that Patricia did, if you look at the secondary, we had Condre Diggs, we had Dier, we had Slay. We don't have them no more. Linebacker did suck forever. We don't have a starter in the linebacker core unless you say Malcolm Rodriguez up front. Aiden Hutchinson and McNeil will probably be the only two starters on this league in any other team. So if you really look at it, other than Tracy Walker in the backfield in the secondary now, we don't have a starter unless you say Akuda is finally starting to tap into his potential. So it's like Matt Patricia, he traded away all our stars. Why? Because they was being themselves. That was stupid. Now Brad's up to Brad Holmes, which I kind of been critical of him for drafting all these injured players. But we'll see with Pascal. I don't think we're going to ever see Levi again on the field because a back injury, you just never know with that. But I feel like the offense clicking, but with this defense, we have to get talent. We have to get playmakers. And with this coaching, Aaron Glenn, I don't know, he made miracles last year. But this year, it's like, is it the talent? Is it that much less? Or it looks like it should have been a little bit better because you added Aiden and Rodriguez. So I'm with you now, Adam. Patricia screwed us so much, but it's like Aaron Glenn, I don't think he forgot how to coach defense in one season. It's just, I think it's a communication thing.
That's
and
what
they're
I'm
going to have
holding
to learn
on to,
how to
man.
communicate.
I agree with you. That is the one thing I am struggling with because I saw this guy put together a game plan against Baltimore. I've seen him put together game plans against Cleveland, against Pittsburgh, whoever it may be down the stretch last year, Arizona, where, damn, they played to a level that wasn't their talent. And that's all I'm asking again this year. That is your job as a coach. Do I think he's suddenly the worst defensive coordinator ever? No, I don't, but it doesn't mean I'm not concerned. I think there's a clear hole in this defense, whether it's talent, whether it's coaching. The two are not on the same page. And look, if simplifying the defense makes it better for them, I really don't care at this point. I just can't see a team not go a single game, or a whole game without punting. That is a tough look. And I don't know how you feel about the record, but that's where I'm at. I'm not so mad about 1-3. I'm more upset about how we're there.
The record, I kind of expected it, but I'm with you. It's like how we got there. And all this criticism over Aiden Hutchinson, he a bust, that's nonsense. It's like you saw what he was doing the first 2-3 games. Now teams like, we not about to let Aiden beat us. We about to double team him. We about to put a tight end to knock him off. Like, he's getting frustrated because he can't get there. But I guarantee next year, if you put another dominant pass rusher on the other side of Aiden, he's going to wreak havoc. He's showing he got all the potential. So everybody out there who's trying to call him a bust, calm your brakes. He okay. He'll be all right.
Fair enough. Well, Eric, appreciate you coming in, man. Appreciate the call. Thanks so much, man.
See you, Eric.
Thank y'all. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.
All right, let's go to Joe out in California. Joe, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Hey, good, man. How you doing?
Good. Man, what is it, like 6:30 for you?
Yeah.
Damn.
Pulled an all-nighter.
Nice. I love it.
I took your advice on cocaine.
What do you got for us, bud?
Just kidding. Yeah, you guys have been talking about a lot of the state of the defense, and I can agree. The coaching is a big deal. Aaron Glenn, you were just talking about it. You had a nail in the head. Starting off with the Arizona game. Towards the last games of the season last season, he showed a lot of promise. But you got to understand it too. It could be coaching and it could be lack of talent as well, and injuries. Everything comes to fruition. Yeah, you could say that there's no excuse for injuries, but really there is. I mean, injuries do hurt a franchise no matter what, and that's just the way we're seeing it right now. The offense is doing pretty damn well thanks to Ben Johnson. He's a freaking genius. But yeah, I mean, I just think the defense overall, the injuries have really hurt them. The lack of depth is really showing, and having Dan Campbell going for it, not one damn punt last game, really shows how confident he is in the defense.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think rightfully so, too. I mean, we can give him flack for when he goes for it, but overall, you look at how bad this defense is. You can't really criticize the man for going for it. And I'm with you. I think the lack of depth is really hurting them. No John Kaminsky, I think, really hurt them. Because when he played against Washington, Aiden had his best game. He's out the following weeks. Now Aiden's never been the same. On top of that, no Romeo Okwara. This is the guy who got 10 sacks for the Lions when he was healthy. So I'm with you. I think it's a lack of depth, but that offense is overachieving, but they have to. If you want to win any games, this offense has to keep at the rate they're going right now.
Yeah, but also the offense has so much depth. Their O-line, their wide receivers. I mean, we're talking about the beginning of the season. Their wide receivers are the deepest in the NFL, and so is their offensive line. Evan Brown is playing at a Pro Bowl level last year. So, I mean, the defense does not have that luxury. So that's what we got to address, in the draft. And luckily our cap room is going to be huge. So we're going to be pretty enticing next year to come.
Fair enough, Joe. Well, look, they got 2 first-round picks. They got a ton of cap space. I appreciate you calling in this morning, man. Well done.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys have a good day.
Yeah, you
You too.
Appreciate you.
All right, Lowell, look, when we get back, how much time, and I'm very interested to see all of your reactions at home, how much time should Dan Campbell receive? How much time? And you want to take wins into account, context of performance, whatever it may be. But realistically, if we were to have an honest conversation this morning, kind of wipe your brains of everything we've discussed so far today, focus on this. How much time should he be given to turn it around? That's the conversation coming up next. But before we do, I got to tell you about where I get my haircut, and that is at Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to Lady Jane's for an award-winning haircut experience, and it's your last month to register to win a car of your dreams from Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime, no appointment necessary. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
The sports marketing agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zaniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Mike Phillips.
You guys are funny. Michael Phillips. Ladies and gentlemen, looking to buy or sell your home, whether you're a player or a fan, helping you buy, sell, or invest is Michael Phillips' top priority. Being in the game for over 23 years, Mike is the #1 option for anybody. If you have real estate needs, call Michael Phillips at 313-403-0011. That's 313-403-0011.
We gave you a warning. I don't know what else you want from us.
Yeah, my headpiece fell out. Sorry, buddy. I couldn't hear you. Oh, good. We are back
Okay,
here on the Morning
good
Woodward
talk.
Show, 9:30 on a beautiful Thursday morning. Thank you all for joining us over at woodwardsports.com. Jeff, how much time should we give Dan Campbell and the Lions to turn it around?
Well, he got a 6-year deal, but I'm not going to say 6 years. I think you'll know by then.
Can we?
To me,
Can
I'll
we
say,
identify what turning around means, though? That way, we're at least on the same page.
Turning around for me is contending for your division, being in the playoff picture, being ready to at least take that next step. Like right now, they're not there defensively. They're definitely not there. I'm going to give them, I would say, one more year, because then this upcoming offseason, you have about $20 million available. We'll see what they can do, who they can go spend it on. And on top of that, you have another draft with Brad Holmes. So a lot of things have to play out for me. I'm willing to give them one more season to really say, all right, this is the year you got to win 8 to 11 games, whatever it is, contend for your division. But until then, like this year, like you said, it's about player development. It's about coaches getting better. Overall, the team just looking better. And offensively, they've done that so far. Defensively, they've regressed. But I'm going to give him one more year, Adam. I think 3-4 years is probably reasonable for Dan. You'll know by then. If he wins, let's say, 6 games this year, you would know next year if he's a good head coach. You'll know with the more additions of more talent on your roster. If he wins another 5 games next year, he's not that guy, pal. So I would say one more season.
Let's just agree here, at least from my perspective.
Yeah.
There isn't much he could do to get fired this year, in my opinion.
No, I'm with you.
It would take the most egregious end to the season. Whether they don't win a game the rest of the year, or they only win one more and they keep blowing games, whatever. I mean, it would take something completely unexpected for me to want to get rid of this guy this year. Having said that, whatever does happen this year, I am under the expectation next year you are competing for your division, which means you are likely competing for a wild card spot as well. That is my expectation. That will never change. Not with Dan Campbell, not with a coach 10 years from now, not with a coach 20, 30 years from now. In the NFL, 2 to 3 years is the standard. That's what I hold you accountable to. Other teams can do it. You can figure it out. If you're a damn good coach, it shows early on. Dan Campbell, like I said, not much he could do. There are only 2 or 3 things that have like a 0.5% chance of happening that would tilt me to the point where I'd call for his head. But I don't think we're going to get to that point this year. I don't. And I don't think I'm going to.
No.
But I will go into next season very aggressive in my expectations. Because I do believe 3 years is more than enough time for you to establish yourself, establish your culture, establish how you want to play the game, get enough players involved, or excuse me, in the team to be more involved and have a better team to compete at least. Compete. I'm not even saying win the division.
And some coaches...
But be a game and a half. Hell, 2 games out if it collapses late. Show me something. Jim Schwartz showed me 10 wins in year 3. That's what I'm looking at. 10-7, 11-6 next year. Whether you like it or not, or you think it's fair or not. I know coaches that walk in anywhere else around the league and they win right away. They win by year 2. I'm not going to accept anything short of contending for your division next year. Adam, would you rather keep Campbell, or excuse me, would you rather fire Campbell to elevate Johnson, or keep Campbell but Johnson leaves for a head coaching position? I hate that question right now. That is a popular question circling around right now. I can't do it.
Because you know what answer,
I don't have the answer, though. I don't know what Dan Campbell is. Can any of you confidently tell me what he is as a head coach?
Well,
I do have a little sample size. I have it. I'm over 20 games
but
now.
But you're not going to say fire Dan.
I'm not there yet. I'm just not.
Either.
And I love Ben Johnson. But what is my number one rule? And it applied to Jim, both Schwartz and Caldwell, and it applied to Patricia. I can't fire you until I know what your ceiling looks like. I don't know what a Dan Campbell football team looks like. I don't yet. Now, could he be awful enough where I want to kill him? Sure, I'll pull the trigger then. They're not there yet. Zach Taylor, why didn't they fire him? They looked great when Joe Burrow was playing quarterback. He tore his ACL midseason. They lost the rest of the games. He got a top pick, brought in Jamar Chase. The offense was humming with Zach Taylor. He was a young offensive-minded coach. You know what? We're going to give him the 3rd year, even though his record sucks because of the context involved. I don't know Zach Taylor's ceiling. Boom. Win the division, go to the Super Bowl. Interesting. Very interesting. Did not expect that. Now, is that overachieving a bit? Yeah, it's a bit extreme.
Right.
But still, the point is, I can't fire Dan, and I don't want to until I know what his ceiling looks like.
And this is the thing, too, I want to bring up. You think the Falcons would have loved to hire Kyle Shanahan and fire Dan Quinn, but at the time, he took them to the Super Bowl. So it's hard to make those decisions. You know, when in hindsight, you should have fired Dan Quinn.
I would use the Jay Gruden example, right? Why would you keep Jay Gruden when you have all this talent underneath him, right?
Well,
Dan Quinn was a Super Bowl coach. He won the NFC Championship.
But he wasn't an offensive guy.
He won the division. But who knew, right? Hindsight 2020. You could have figured out that, hey, you know what? When they lose Kyle, Matt Ryan's going to take a dip. Well, that's on Dan Quinn not to replace him with a just as good, if not a slightly lesser version of Kyle Shanahan. They failed to do that, right? But that was their Super Bowl window. Again, a completely different conversation, but I do agree with where you're going with him.
Right.
Look, the reality is I am not ready to have or make a decision on Dan Campbell. That doesn't excuse what happens week to week throughout an NFL season. Having said that, I find it incredibly difficult, Jeff, to tell you, hey, by the end of the year, I'll know. Like, hey, I wish I get rid of him or not. The only way you would ever have the conversation of getting rid of this coach is if they just lose 12 of the last 13 games and they're 2-15. Or they're 3-14, and you're looking at it like, wait, huh? What? How? Right? That's the only way, Jeff. Really? Could they win 6 games? Yeah, okay, fine. I don't think we're talking about firing him. But if he wins 2 or 3, I do think that is the only way that conversation even gets brought up, no?
I mean, there's not a difference. If you win 4, I'm having a conversation. I mean, it depends. The context matters. That's why I brought up the Kyle Shanahan and the Dan Quinn thing, because when you're having success, it's much harder to make these decisions. But if you suck and you have a guy like Ben Johnson who's already there, yeah, that decision becomes harder to make. And Ben Johnson's going to be looked at this offseason. The question I have, and the reason why I'm on Dan's side right now, is because what Dan brings in terms of his leadership. I know Ben can lead men, but what Dan can do is what we need right now. You have a great offensive coordinator. You're supposed to have a great defensive coordinator, which I think eventually he'll get there. But until then, Dan's almost like and I hate to say this, probably not the right word for it, but like a placeholder. Like he's there, he's a figurehead. He's there, he's the leader, he's the spokesman, and then you have guys under him who do their job exceptionally well, or at least you think they do. Aaron Glenn, it's hard to judge him because he doesn't have all the talent right now, but you have Ben Johnson. Now, if there's a threat Ben Johnson could leave, I'm telling you, the Falcons would have took him over Dan Quinn. That's just the reality of it. Now, hindsight's always 20/20. But I'm with you guys. I mean, the conversation's going to have to be had if you win, let's say 4, 5, 6 games. Like, context does matter. But right now, how the Lions are trending, this is why Ben Johnson. This is why the conversation's here already. I don't like the fact that we're having these conversations. I don't think Dan Campbell should be fired right now. I think it's ridiculous, to be honest with you, but that's the reality of it. When you're not winning, you're going to have these conversations, and some coaches don't even get 3 years. Joe Judge didn't get 3 years. You knew right away. You knew through the first 2 seasons he was complete garbage. Dan Campbell, at least you like him as a human being, and you're willing to give him more time, but it ultimately could cost them when it's all said and done. Ben Johnson, if he ultimately leaves and becomes a head coach. I mean, you could be looking back thinking to yourself, dang, we let that one get away. We let Ben Johnson get away when we had him here as our OC. So I don't think you guys are crazy for having that conversation. I just think overall you got to give Dan a little more time to at least figure it out. But it's certainly a conversation the Lions fans are going to be having. Fish, what do you think? Ben Johnson, I know Sam Flannel in the same booth you're in right now. He said I forgot how many games he said. It might have been 4 or 5. He said if Dan wins 4 or 5 games, I demand Ben be promoted to head coach, which, listen, we're the biggest Ben Johnson defenders. We were on this earlier than anybody. But the reality is that too premature?
I mean, yeah, it is to an extent, because you don't know what Ben Johnson's done so far, and you're just thinking about all the things that Ben Johnson could do. He's a good offensive coach. The offense is number 1, but that being said, it is... they've played good teams. They haven't played the best teams.
Right.
So you kind of have to. I mean, the Eagles, they could win the Super Bowl this year, but We did lose to the Eagles. The defense is awful.
It is.
But I'd like to know if the defense is actually good. Maybe the offense changes. I don't know. I mean, Dan Campbell, it's hard to tell with Dan Campbell right now. I'm not sure how to think right now about Dan Campbell.
No, I'm with you, Fish. A lot of things have to be figured out, and I think they will be. But another thing I have figured out is Cintron, because Cintron is the official energy drink of the Detroit Red Wings, which our guy Mike covers right here for Woodward Sports. Cintron has combined all three of their flavors. They have cranberry, original, sugar-free, all in their 6-pack sampler box, which you can order at CintronWorld.com/Red Wings. Get energized with Cintron.
New to the game or a season better? OddsTrader.com has everything you need to make the right bet ahead of kickoff. Begin your handicapping journey with OddsTrader. Improve your edge by finding the best price on every game from sportsbooks in your backyard. Take advantage of the numerous sign-up bonus offers to pad your bankroll. Dive into key game statistics, player performance, and even account for the projected game day weather. Best of all, you can use the OddsTrader bet tracker to keep a log of your action. Welcome to OddsTrader, and best of luck.
Hi, I'm John from Better Rate Mortgage, and to me, family is more than blood. That's why I have the biggest family in Metro Detroit. If you're looking to buy a house or refinance and need a loan, come get treated better than family by me and our entire team here at Better Rate Mortgage. We pride ourselves on giving you better advice, better service, and a better loan experience. That's why we are Better Rate. If you're looking for a new mortgage, come get treated like family. Actually, better with Better Rate Mortgage. Visit us at mybetterrate.com or call at 248-480-4467 today.
3 NBA championships. Detroit fans were there. 11 Stanley Cups. Detroit fans were there. 4 World Series wins. Detroit fans were there.
And that one Lions playoff win in 1991? Yeah, Detroit fans were there.
Woodward Sports, where the fans are.
At Alta, uptime matters. Alta Equipment has everything you need to get the job done. Have a big project coming up? Alta Rent has you covered. Call them today, 844-GO-TO-ALTA. That's 844-GO-TO-ALTA today. We're back here in the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. If you're watching on woodwardsports.com, I want to put a poll in the chat because we're going to be talking about Thursday Night Football for a little bit. Who wins? Colts, Broncos? Put it in the chat. I want to go to the people. It's a weird game tonight. You know, no Javonte Williams tears his ACL. No Jonathan Taylor. Both these teams look like complete garbage. It's going to be an interesting Thursday Night Football. But I want to go back to the point that we were talking about earlier about Ben Johnson. And I see everyone talking about in the comments how, 4 games through Ben Johnson's career as an OC, he's already being promoted head coach. I'm with you guys. I think it's too premature to have that conversation. But certainly when you have something as impressive or a coach that's as impressive as Ben Johnson, these conversations are going to arise. But we have Adham back. Colts and Broncos on tonight, Adham.
I have a question for all of you.
Some fantasy implications.
Yeah, I do have a question for all of you. I'm willing to go to the people today. I've got Derrick Henry, Melvin Gordon, Alvin Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
I have Terry McLaurin, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Chris Olave. What do I do? Kamara is playing. That's a fact. They came out yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
He is playing. Mm-hmm. Do I start Melvin Gordon at the flex tonight over Terry McLaurin? Let me look at the rest of my bench, just so I don't lie to you guys. Do I start Melvin Gordon over, basically Terry McLaurin. That's the only person I'd start him over. Olave starting.
Oh, I thought you said...
Dude's a machine.
Yeah.
I love him.
I know.
He's my number 2 receiver behind St. Brown.
Oh, I thought you said he was on your bench.
By the way, you weren't here when I made all these trades. So, I had Lamar Jackson.
Oh, no, I haven't been keeping up.
All right, you ready for my new team?
Yes.
My picks 1 through 7 are no longer on my team in my big money league.
I'm going to have to pull this
I traded them all away or I cut them. Darnell Mooney and Javonte Williams got cut for obvious reasons. The other 5 I traded, Mikey.
Oh, I'm going to check it out right now.
Not Woodward. This is my big money league.
I was going to say, I didn't know if it was your big money or your...
So now my team is Kyler Murray, Chris Olave, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Dallas Goedert.
Wow.
Terry McLaurin, DeAndre Hopkins, Melvin Gordon.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot better than it was.
Stacked.
That's a lot better than it was.
A lot better than what I started with. Honestly, I really love this team. Now, I know probably all of you in the chat are going to kill me for it. But do I start Melvin Gordon? That is the question. Can we... I know you guys did the poll on who wins tonight, but in the Woodward Sports Chat, should Adham start Melvin Gordon? I'm really curious. Because I kind of want to, for two reasons. One, I want to watch the game, and two, it's Melvin Gordon. He's the number one running back now.
Aren't you watching the game anyway?
He's not going to be splitting carries, right? All right, Jesse's saying no, don't do it. He fumbled twice last week. Gordon won't fumble like that all the time, man. I don't see that happening. There's no way that continues, by the way. Kyler Murray, Hopkins, question mark. What does that mean, Paul? Tell me my team sucks? I'd start Gordon. He's far and away the number one for them now. That's what I'm saying. He's going to get at least 15, 17, 18 carries. And he's going to get all the goal line attempts. And he'll get 3, 4, 5 catches out of the backfield. I don't think I'm crazy here.
No, I'm looking at my fantasy team currently because I was looking for... I have Melvin Gordon starting. But
I'm salty. Says Adham is using people to help him in fantasy, and then he's going to blame us when he loses. Salty.
Absolutely.
Can
How
I
do
get
you
the camera
not?
on me real quick?
It's a stupid move,
Salty?
though.
I'm not going to lie. You, my friend, are 1,000% correct. No, I'm joking.
That's what I did with Abe.
I wouldn't blame you guys.
I asked Abe for
you're
advice.
lying. You would totally
Abe hates
blame
my
us.
team. Abe can go to hell. Him, the Yankees, the Knicks,
No,
the Jets.
he's not a Yankees. He's a Mets.
He's a Mets.
He's
the
a
Mets,
Mets. There's a
they can
difference.
die too. All in New York can go underwater.
Maz,
I don't care.
Maz
That's how I feel about Abe in New York.
Maz
So-
is the one that loves every New York team except the Rangers.
Hey, I love Dylan's comment on WoodwardSports.com. Call of Duty comes out next week, so drop Kyler.
Yeah, look, you know what? My hope is Kyler goes off today. Or, excuse me, not today. Sunday, he gets like a 30, 32-point performance. Somebody in the league is kind of starving for a quarterback, and I get to go in and make a move. Remember, my original team, Jeff, was Lamar Jackson, Javonte Williams, Christian McCaffrey, Cam Akers at the flex, Jalen Waddle, and Darnell Mooney. That was my original lineup with Dawson Knox at tight end. Think about that.
Yeah, it's
Lamar, Akers,
on paper,
McCaffrey, Javonte, Dawson Knox, and then Mooney and Waddle as my wide receivers. It is now Murray, Olave, St. Brown, Henry, Kamara, Goddard, McLaurin, with D-Hop on the bench and Melvin Gordon on the bench. I'm pretty happy with what I did. And I usually never trade this much. This year, I was just throwing out deals, man. Selling players high, buying players low. That's what I was doing. It's like in the stock market.
Are you worried it's going to mess you up?
What?
Like your
No, I
team's
love my
suddenly
team.
going to tank?
No, I love my team. I'm 2-2 right now. I'm just trying to get to DeAndre Hopkins coming back. Once he comes back, my team, I think, is one of the better ones in the league. For now, it's up there. It's not bad. Akers and Mooney were busts. Yeah, look, I mean, Anthony, you're right, but I am the guy that was able to flip Akers in time before people gave up on him. And after that Monday night performance, that trade I made looks a lot better. That's all I'm going to say.
Very true.
Oh, goodness. All right. Let's see what the poll. 54% of you say I should start Melvin. 46% of you say I shouldn't. Wow. Very interesting. McLaurin killed me last week. Yeah, McLaurin's hit or miss right now, but I just think he has so much big play potential. How do you not have him as a flex at least? Depending on your team, maybe you need him at wide receiver, right? The one thing that does bother me is I may have to start Olave and Kamara moving forward at the same time. I'm not a fan of that.
I had to do that in my other league.
But, I mean, Olave's going to get the targets. I know Kamara's going to get the touches too,
yeah.
right? So I kind of can't
That's
lose.
like the whole thing with me, and I have Amari Cooper.
Especially with Michael Thomas out.
Yeah, I have Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb in one of my
Yeah,
leagues. So it's a tough situation.
If Michael Thomas comes back, let's say in a few weeks, and all right, now I can think about starting McLaurin over Olave, but I don't think I'll have that issue. Gordon seems like a solid play. He's the go-to back. It's at home. Indy defense hasn't a lot of rushing yards, but are middle of the pack in terms of giving up rushing touchdowns. Yep, good point, Jake. Whew. All right, 9:49, a mailbag time in the Woodward Sports Chat. Drop all of your questions, comments, whatever it may be. Jeff and I will get to it in just a minute, but before we do, Jeff, the best defense on and off the field.
A defense you can't trust is Guardian Alarm, because, guys, fall is here, and let Guardian Alarm give you peace of mind while you're out enjoying the fall. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT today, and you can rest easy knowing you have 24/7 protection. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Let them know your friends at Woodward Sports sent you.
They're going to get 10 games.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Krogers, and if you want to know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Right, we are back, 9:51 here on the Morning Woodward Show. Thank you to everybody joining us over at woodwardsports.com, to everybody in the Woodward Sports chat. Here's what we got. We'll start with question number 1. Has anyone else noticed that the 2 best coaches on the Lions staff, Fairley and Johnson, were part of the Quinntricia era? It's just something I'm keeping in mind and figured I'd ask. That is correct. Ben Johnson was hired by Matt Patricia and company.
Yep.
Fairley, the same thing, was brought on during that time. They were kept through the transition, and they've done a damn good job. I'm not sure what to make of that just yet. I don't
think it really matters, to be honest with you, because Ben Johnson's also the guy who, wasn't promoted to being a part of the offensive staff. I think he was just the wide receiver coach, or I forgot what coach he was, but hey, and then Dan Campbell comes along and gives him the opportunity, and look at now what you have. So,
all right.
Although he's a part of that regime, it's not like Matt Patricia knew he had a stud.
All right,
I wouldn't go that far.
Well, Troy asks, is the defense going to make the correct changes to turn things around, Jeff?
What was the question?
Is the defense going to make the correct changes to turn things around?
That's tough, because I think we're going to find out over the next couple weeks if it's a personnel issue or it's a coaching issue. Because I think we already kind of know, but the more you see this defense and now you get a bigger sample size, you'll have the answer to your question. So I'm going to say yes.
If there was ever a week to do it.
Yeah, it'd be this
Bailey
week.
Zappi.
Be this week.
A banged up John Smith. Not sure if he's going to be available. Jacoby Myers still questionable. If there was ever a week to get it together, this is the weekend. Mailbag, if the Lions garner a top 10, maybe even top 5 pick, does Holmes trade back to acquire more picks to get more players on defense, or stay pat and go best player available? Jeff?
I would say stay pat and go for the best player available. That's my opinion, because you see some of the players that are coming out this year. But it depends. If Brad Holmes likes somebody later in the draft, you can get more assets, then do it. But for me personally, I'm going to say stay put, take the best player available, because that's kind of been Brad Holmes' DNA so far. It's just taking the best guy. That's why he trades up and gets Jameson. You take Adham, just take the best player. So that's how I feel about it.
Fair enough. If the Lions... Oh, excuse me. I just answered that. Sorry, Jeff. Apologize. Let's see.
I like
Mailbag.
this one.
Jeff, should I be angry at Adam? I was on hold for 30 minutes, and Adam didn't want to pick up the call. Second question, Adam, want to bet on the Catholics versus the Mormons? I'll take the Catholics over the Mormons 7 days a week, Jesse. You know that. Sorry about putting you on hold.
Yeah, Jesse, that'll never happen again, buddy.
Irish and Cougars from Las Vegas.
It's Fish's fault. Fish kind of set you up for failure there.
I like this question, too. By the way,
Go
Jesse,
for it.
call back. We'll get you on. Question from, I believe it was Noah. Noah M. Mailbag. Which active former Lions player would you like to add to the current squad? I would say Sue. Yeah, why not? If you're talking about or Slay. Slay would be nice. Are we getting the player right now? Or are we getting him in their prime?
I'd imagine right now.
Oh, then Slay. Yeah, or Diggs would be a good one.
What are the chances Detroit gets 2 top 15 picks with the way the Rams are playing? Honestly, pretty high. That offensive line is shot. There is no offensive line out in Los Angeles. They can't get the run game going. There are no weapons outside of Cooper Kupp. Allen Robinson sucks. Higbee is okay. There are no other wide receivers. You have the other white version of Cooper Kupp, Sporonic, whatever the hell his name is. The Rams don't look good at all, and they don't look like an NFC contender. They just don't. The defense isn't playing as good, and the offense is horrendous. I don't like the Rams right now. I'm not confident. Now, do I think they can turn it around? Maybe, but they're going to have to sign some players and make some moves, man. You're going to have to make a move or two. It's not good enough right now. It just isn't. Do the Lions look at a kicker in next year's draft, Jeff?
No, I don't think so. I think the whole, you found Riley Patterson. That should have been the kicker you kept. But the fact of the matter is, I don't think kicking's probably one of our last concerns. If Michael Badgley is what we think he is and he's solid, there's your kicker. But it all started, they should have paid Matthew Prater. I mean, that should have been done. I don't think they draft a kicker, but who knows? If one's there and he's got a cannon of a leg in the 6th, 7th round, who knows? Maybe you draft him. But
fair enough. Are you guys going to the? Are you guys going to the Michigan? Are you going to Michigan to watch Michigan versus Penn State next weekend? We'll see what happens this weekend. If it's the matchup of the top 10 teams, yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to do something. You guys keep saying the Lions offense can't keep scoring like this, but you don't. But don't you feel good when we get these guys who are banged up back in the lineup? I can see them scoring 28 plus a game. Yeah, the problem is there's a big difference between even 27 points a game and 35. Right now they're at 35.5, I believe. That is insane.
That's terrible.
So I think they're 35 flat, actually. But beyond the point, that is so hard to sustain. It really is. The Rams got to do something about that O-line or Stafford won't make it through the season. Funky, I agree. And honestly, at this point, as a Lions fan, you're probably looking at the Rams situation and saying, oh, yeah, keep losing. Finish 7-10. Finish 8-9. Finish 9-8. That would be phenomenal.
Just allow Matthew to get completely obliterated. I mean, their offensive line, and they have injuries, but still, the loss of Andrew Whitworth, they're struggling.
Do you think Jameson Williams was a bad pick with how the offense is doing without him? Do you think we should have gone defense?
No.
Look, we all agree this team is still missing a number 1 wide receiver.
Yeah.
St. Brown, for all his value, is limited. He doesn't take the top off the defense. That is something schematically you want as an offensive coordinator. Inserting Jameson Williams, a healthy Jameson Williams, really just makes your offense even that more difficult to game plan for.
Right.
So, no, I don't think it was the wrong pick. I don't think it was a luxury pick. You need wide receivers to win in the NFL. You need them. And do you think Reynolds and Chark will give you what they gave you last week? Reynolds specifically, Chark didn't play, but you kind of get where I'm going at here. Do you think they'll give you that level, that elite top 15 level? No, I don't think so. St. Brown can, and I believe you drafted Jameson Williams with the intention that he would be a top 10 wide receiver, no?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jordan Davis would have been nice, right? Yeah, you're thinking right now.
Hindsight, yeah, it's...
You're thinking right now. We all like the pick. Leave it be. When he returns, you'll see why. The defense needs improvement, yes. Yes, they need to go all in on defense and free agency and the draft, yes.
But I'm not.
That doesn't change my mind.
I'm not willing to have that conversation, Adam, until we fast forward 3 years from now, 2 years from now, and Jameson looks nothing like Jordan Davis. Then we can have a conversation. But until I see him, I'm not going to have that conversation. I don't believe it.
Fair enough. If Holmes knew the offense would be this productive, does he get more aggressive this past free agency? That's a great question. I would say hindsight, sure, but he was also addressing the salary cap, right?
Right.
There wasn't much to work with. So I would be cautious by saying that. I would say next season, meaning this upcoming offseason, you would expect Brad Holmes to get aggressive.
Defense.
All right. With St. Brown out, should I start Gallup, Reynolds, or Landry? St. Brown is out this weekend?
I hope not, because I'm banking on him playing.
I'm not aware of St. Brown.
If he's out, I would...
Is he really out? I'm pissed. Yeah, I have him on my fantasy team.
I hope he's not.
He rested yesterday.
Yeah, he's questionable.
What are we doing?
But just preparing, if he's out, Eric, I might lean Reynolds, but...
I would know, 100% Reynolds.
Yeah,
100% Reynolds. Gallup isn't a bad play either, though.
Yeah.
Did Hard Knocks give us unrealistic expectations? No, I don't.
It only gave you unrealistic expectations if you drank the Kool-Aid, if you bought into it.
Definition of Kool-Aid, though, right? Because I'm not going to sit here, and I'm not changing my position. I'm seeing it. They're better than their record. I thought going into the year, whoever told me 8-9 wins, I wasn't going to sit here and call them crazy like I did last year.
But those people who, if you watch Hard Knocks and think they're going to win 10 games, go to the playoffs. Like that's, I think that would be getting too invested.
But they're not executing. They're letting themselves down. They're not 1-3.
I don't think it is.
Their problem.
Yeah.
I don't think that's crazy, though. Last year, crazy.
Yeah,
I don't think it's far-fetched to say, hey, You were a fourth-place team last year. You got a fourth-place schedule. A lot of games in there. A lot of games against quarterbacks you're not too worried about going into the season. I don't think it's crazy. You're not 1-3? Yeah, tough for you to convince me that they're going to go 9-7 down
I just
the
think it's
stretch.
crazy because they were
Whatever it
one
is.
of the worst defenses, and you didn't really do much to add to it besides Aiden. And now people assume you're going to be 10-7.
You're not going 9-4 to end the year.
Right.
So,
yeah, no,
that's the reality.
That's my only point. But yeah, my predictions didn't change.
Let's
through
get
our
out of here.
notes. It did not change.
It's 10 o'clock. You all have a great rest of your Thursday. Enjoy Thursday Night Football. Big D Energy coming up at 11 o'clock. Armani and Edwards at 2, and
Yes,
the heavyweights at 5 p.m. Make sure you check them all out over at woodwardsports.com. You all have a great rest of your Thursday. We'll be back for a jam-packed Friday show, Lions football, New England Patriots on Sunday. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thursday night, Europa nights.